If your clinic is stuck and you're constantly jumping back and forth between marketing tactics, hiring decisions, and operational challenge, but nothing seems to move the needle, this video is for you. Here's what's actually happening. You're putting band-aids on bullet wounds because you have not identified the one single constraint that you need to fix to grow your office. My name is Jeff. All we talk about on this channel is how to hit $200,000 or more per month inside of your natural healthcare facility. We've helped over 500 different offices in the past 6 years. And one thing that I can tell you about the offices that stay stagnant and those that break through is they become obsessive over, again, the one single bottleneck currently in their organization. So by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly how to find the one single bottleneck in your practice and how to take action to actually fixing that bottleneck to break through the next level. So let's begin with the theory of single constraints. This means that at any given moment, your clinic has one single constraint that is preventing it from growing. Now, this isn't some feel-good business theory. This is applied physics to your clinic. Think of it like a chain. No matter how strong each of the links are, if you have one individual link, the whole business breaks right at that link. The whole chain just absolutely snaps. So at the end of the day, the weakest link determines how long and how strong the chain actually is. The same is true for your business. The weakest link, the current weakest link, whether that be marketing, whether that be sales, whether that be your team, is what's preventing you going to the next level. Now here's the big breakthrough. Fixing that one constraint will have an exponentially higher return than any of the other little admin tasks and just busy work that you do. Because the thing is that most clinic owners are trying to fix 10 things at once. They're hiring new staff, they're launching new services, they're getting into new niches, but all that energy is wasted unless they fix the one single constraint that's preventing flow of money right now. So I've had the privilege of speaking with over 5,000 different clinicians over the last 6 years. And I have heard on many calls, people trying a laundry list of things to grow their office. New website, new staff, 5 agencies, maybe a 6th agency. Tried YouTube for a while, tried organic, did podcasts for a little bit. But I asked them, okay, that makes sense. What is your current biggest constraint that is preventing you from growing the business? Single thing. Most typically there's no answer because we've been conditioned in a society to where more time equals more money, more input equals more output, instead of actually creating leverage and identifying the main thing that we need to work on. Let me ask you this, would you rather work on 10 things a day? Or would you rather work on one single thing that has the highest probability of moving your business forward? That answer seems pretty obvious to me. So the question is then, how do we identify the bottleneck? How do we know where our current constraint is? Well, the first is we have to list all the metrics out. Every single metric in the clinic, okay? We must have those. We've talked about that in different videos, but just, you have to know your metrics. So like your marketing metrics, current number of leads, cost per lead, booking rate, show rate, conversion rate. If you're doing this 2-day sales process, day 1 to day 2 percentage, hard conversion rate, renewal percentage, case value, lifetime value. First of all, you got to know the base work. And many people don't even know the bases. They don't even know exactly what their clinical numbers are. So if you're watching this video and you don't even know all the numbers in the back of your hand, or at least have access to the numbers immediately that I just listed, that's where you must start. Because you cannot possibly identify a bottleneck if you don't know what the current metrics support. Now, once you've got your target metrics, okay, you've got your goal metrics, okay, number of leads, number of bookings, so on and so forth, right? Then you just compare your actual numbers, okay? So like, hey, we wanted to get 50 bookings this month, but we only got 10. That could possibly be a bottleneck, right? That's a big discrepancy. 50 was the goal, we actually got 10, right? So by going through and having all of your metrics, you're gonna be able to identify where the potential bottlenecks are, and then you can identify the one single thing that, if fixed, would have the most output for your business. Now, I can tell you with confidence that for most clinics that are doing under 100 grand a month, the main opportunity is either going to be team in terms of providers, and if you have team, it's always back to marketing. It's new patients coming into the business. So I like to think about if I have 2 metrics that are like pretty close, okay? Like if I have, let's say my booking percentage is a little bit low, but also maybe like my show percentage, my show to the initial appointment percentage is also a little bit low. I like to ask myself, which one of these 2 metrics would be the easiest to double or easiest to add 50%, right? So again, if you're using online schedulers and you have good speed to lead and that kind of stuff, it can be tough to like add a significant percentage to like the lead to booking rate. But you can add a lot of percentage to your booking rate to show rate by just dialing in your phone script, right? So that one might actually be easier to double, and that might be the one I focus on. Now guys, if you want my team to pop in and do this bottleneck assessment for you, there are a couple ways that we can help out, okay? There are 2 ways below in the description where we can help you at a deeper level. The first is our accelerator program. Our accelerator program is our flagship agency program. It's all done for you. It does require a little bit of work on your team's part. However, it is as hands-off of a service that we can actively provide in terms of growing your business. And there's a lot of personal development involved in terms of acquisition strategies and sales strategies that can go directly to your team's brain to ultimately make your team better over time. The second way we can help you out is Master Clinical Marketing. Master Clinical Marketing is another program for clinicians that are not quite at that $50,000 a month revenue, that benchmark to get into our accelerator program, but they're scaling up and they want to learn a lot of the marketing and sales best practices that we have. So they'll buy the program, they'll implement a lot of those ideas, they'll coach with us, and then someday our goal, to be transparent, is that you use the Master Clinical Marketing program to up your ante in terms of your revenue. And then someday you consider us to actually come in and do the advertising hands-on for you inside of our accelerator program. Once you've identified the bottleneck, then the next thing becomes, how do we actually fix this thing? So if your bottleneck is lead generation, first of all, you have to look at what are we currently investing in lead generation. A lot of businesses just don't do the math and they massively underspend on lead gen. Now, if you're already spending money on ads and you're just not getting the results, then we got to look at the messaging. Are we actually attracting the ideal patient? Are we having the right position in our offer? Do we have a lot of reviews and testimonials? Are we actually creating ads that attract the right patients? Then we need to look at all the statistics. Okay, where are people falling off in the funnel? Are they falling off at the lead portion? Are they falling off the booking portion? The show rate? Where's the drop off with the leads we're currently getting? And then we have to test different things. We have to test different offers. We have to test different creatives. If you're using photos, let's try videos, right? We have to try a lot of different stuff to figure out what the market's going to resonate with. And then we have to have the right systems in place to make sure that that lead makes it all the way through. Now, if your bottleneck is the schedule rate, then I would definitely look at a couple things. Number one is speed to lead. How fast are your people following up with the leads, whether you're using in-person or some sort of artificial intelligence. I would make sure if you're using your team that you are role-playing consistently to ultimately ensure that your team is saying the right stuff on the phone. And then just make sure that you have a very good consultation on the phone. I can't stress this enough. Like, people think that humans don't care about this anymore, but we have found over and over that our clients that have not only good speed to lead and well-trained staff, but they have a very good discovery session on the call to build that rapport, their show rates become immaculate. And ultimately, what happens from there is they just get more revenue per opportunity. Speaking of show rate, if you're having a hard time with the show rate, I would definitely look at to see that, make sure your staff is not planting too many bad seeds on the phone. They're saying too much, they're saying too little possibly. Like, a lot of offices will call and they'll be like, hey, just calling to confirm your appointment, thanks. If that's what your script is and you wonder why you're not getting people in the door, then we've got a few lessons for you, So ultimately, you have to build rapport. You have to understand the patient, and the patient has to know what comes next. And it's nice to create some little ethical and urgency related bribes to make sure somebody's going to show up for that initial appointment. Next up is conversion rate. If conversion rate is the linchpin, then that's going to be a challenge as well. So I would look at your day one, day two approach in terms of your conversion, okay? Are we giving away too much? How are we framing on day one? How is the doc building rapport? Are we doing tours? Or when are we asking for the business? Are we asking too soon? Are we asking too late, right? So there's a lot that goes into conversion, and this is not a whole training on conversion. However, I would try to map out every single objection that you get from a patient and then try to model that throughout the process so that you can really just eliminate that objection before it comes up. Now, if you're doing a 2-day sales process, not to digress, but if you're doing a 2-day sales process and you get a lot of objections on day 2, remember that's typically a result in the things you didn't do on day 1. Now, if the bottleneck is the stick rate, there's a couple things we would look at. The first is patient education throughout the process. How are we framing them? How are we changing their beliefs? How are we rewiring the way they see the world? Are we doing regular check-ins and progress tracking? A patient won't continue doing something forever unless they feel there's a notable progress check-in coming soon. People like to see progress in their investments and also in their health. So find a way to create a progress bar. We have to also make sure that we address concerns of maybe doing something for the long term. If you have a wellness-based service and you do expect patients to come once, maybe twice a month, we need to educate them on why that's important for them outside of just why it's important for you and your pocketbook. And also creating accountability and community. Like go out of way for your patients, do extra stuff for them, have events. That all goes a long way into fostering community, which naturally creates a lot more stickiness. We always say that the patient might start inside of your business because they like you as the provider, but they're gonna stick because they like the outcome, they like the lifestyle, and they like the community. Now, as we bring all this home, the last critical element of the theory of single constraints is the weekly bottleneck meeting. That is where you and the executive people on your team sit down for 30 minutes a week and you review all of the department statistics. So we will look through all the marketing, all the sales, all the delivery, fulfillment, finance team. We'll look through it all, okay? And then we'll say, which of these are the bottleneck? Now, it's pretty easy to identify because week over week, the bottleneck just doesn't become random. It's not like it's marketing one week, then finance, then back to marketing, then HR. In a business that's growing and hungry, most of the time it's either going to be marketing or sales. There might be a few periods of time where it's hiring because you need to hire like another practitioner, but then it's back to marketing and sales, baby, you know? So if you do this meeting every week, it allows you to have shorter feedback loops. You're able to zoom in on the single constraint. Let's say for this example that it's marketing. Well, every week you get a chance with the executive team to review what's going on in the marketing. What changes did we make last week? How are the changes impacting results? Are we seeing signs of life? Are we seeing signs of disease and we need to quit doing something? So having that formal 30-minute check-in just to review the main business bottleneck is a critical element to taking a business to the next level month after month. So here's the bottom line is that your clinic has one single constraint right now, and either you're ignoring it or you're taking action to fix it. And I can tell you that the clinics that are going to dominate long term are the ones that are taking immediate and obsessive action to fix the current constraint in their practice. If you want help identifying your constraints, maybe you just want a second eye on the business, feel free to apply to our accelerator program or our master clinical marketing program. We are also putting out twice a week videos on the channel. We're going to be doing twice a week in terms of educational content about this length, all about patient acquisition best practices, scaling best practices, systems. I believe that we're one of the only groups that's actually putting out that religious of content for brick and mortar clinics trying to reach 200 grand a month. So if you like this piece of content, feel free to hit subscribe, hit the bell. That'll notify you whenever we post. We are posting twice a week here to YouTube.